long walk from the bar. Hey, my name's Diane. I'm from Detroit. Did that for Scott. Scott's also from Detroit. I will never forget the day that I met Mike Lieber. Mike Lieber looked exactly like Han Solo from Star Wars. And this was really convenient for me because I had been saving myself for Han Solo since I was 9 years old. And he was the editor of the campus satirical newspaper, the Spartan Weekly. And he was like the bad boy of the Michigan State University School of Journalism because the campus didn't want him to start a satirical paper, and he did it anyway. Mike Lieber came into my journalism introductory class one day, and he kind of busted through the doors, and it was really cold out, and he's wearing a vest, and he was all windswept and snarky and tall. And it was like he rode in on a tauntaun from Hoth. I'm glad people get that reference. And I could not sign up for the newspaper fast enough, because I figured if I joined the paper, it was only a matter of time before Mike Lieber fell in love with me. Seemed like a reasonable plan. So I joined the paper and I signed up, and it was very convenient because they had meetings at the student union, which was across the street from my dorm. And I remember going to the first meeting and, wearing my best outfit, making sure my hair was done, making sure I had heels on, wanting to look my best, ready for some banter like Han Solo and Princess Leia had. I was ready to insult him as a way to show him that I loved him. Still a favorite tactic of mine for how to get men to love me. So I show up, and 3 story assignments later, I'm no closer to my goal. So I hang around afterward pretending to text. Finally, he looks at me and says, "Do you need a ride home or something?" And before I even understand what I'm saying, I find myself blurting out, "Yes, I actually do need a ride home. I live all the way across campus on Shaw Hall. If you could drive me, that'd be great. Thanks." Remember, I lived across the street. It had to be like a 2-minute walk. So we get in the car, and he's driving me home, and it's 7 minutes of blissful silence. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're alone together. And it's going to be just like when Han Solo and Princess Leia are on the Millennium Falcon, and they're trapped for like a month because their hyperdrive dies. I think it's a month. It could be longer. I haven't read any fan fiction in a while. So we're stuck together, and all I can think, I'm going to insult him and make a little joke. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be banter. It's going to be great. We even have the height difference, which is still important to me, by the way. I want that Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher height difference. It's 5'1" to 6'1", in case you're wondering. I know it. Yeah. So we're in there, and I can't think of anything to say, and I just sit there in silence wondering what it would be like to touch his hair. So he lets me off at Shaw Hall, in the center of campus where I live. And I get out, and I shut the door, and I say goodnight, and he drives away, and then I walk across the street to the bus station, get on a bus, and ride half an hour home, basically making a circle from where I started from. I called it the Lieber system, and I did the Lieber system every week for the rest of the semester. And there were a couple of problems with the Lieber system that became apparent to me pretty quickly, the first of which being that sometimes other people who actually had places to go needed rides home. And I had to make sure that I did a little something extra to make sure that he remembered me. So I would do things like pretend to fall asleep in the back seat. And I'd be sitting there. And I would hope that he would, tap me on the shoulder and go, "Diane, wake up and you touch me," and that's when he would know how much I loved him. And instead he would just shout, "Ivy! Ivy! We're here!" And I would go, "What? Oh, I'm sorry, I've just been really tired lately." And then I would do this thing where I would trip as he was letting me out of the car because he had a 2-door, and I figured he would catch me in his arms and find out how much I loved him. And when I did that, I fell on my face because he was looking at his phone. So by the end of the semester, I was no closer to my goal of making him fall in love with me. But I figured I'd go away for the summer, and when I came back, I promised I was never going to do the Lieber system again. I was going to move beyond it and stop love-loving fictional men. I was going to like get a real boyfriend and find out what love actually was. But a couple weeks back into the semester, I was back on the Libra system. And I remember we had this sort of get to know your new freshman party. I was a sophomore now. And there was this new freshman named Jamie. And Jamie also had a crush on Mike Lieber. And I remember we talked about it, and I felt this bond with her. And I was like, you know, Jamie, I really like Mike Lieber also. And you know how I lied about where I live so he doesn't drive me home? And isn't he beautiful? I like his hair. I like it a lot. Think about touching it a lot. And then she goes, you know, I'm actually doing a story about Mike Lieber for the paper, sort of a profile piece, sort of a get to know your editor. And I tell her the whole thing about how I lied, about how he looks like Han Solo, about how I've been having him drive me all the way across campus when I actually live across the street. Because I guess I thought it'd be funny, and I thought it'd be this, you know, like that moment in Empire where Han Solo's about to be frozen in carbonite, and Princess Leia cries out, "I love you!" And he says the best thing ever, which is, "I know." Still waiting for a man to say that to me, so if you can, let me know. And I thought this was my carbonite moment. It would be in print, and everybody would see it, and it would be fantastic, and he'd know how I felt, this grand gesture, and I can't wait to tell our grandchildren. Then I saw it the next week in print. Front page, above the fold, the whole thing. And I didn't look cute. I looked crazy. But the other thing I should tell you is that it's really hard to deny something when you've told everyone else but Mike Lieber. So it's not like you're like, oh yeah, Jamie made that up, that's not funny. No, because everybody else knew that it was real. So I quit the Spartan Weekly the next day, and I never went back. And I want to say that, you know, that was my lesson, and I don't lie to boys anymore, and, you know, I've reformed. But the truth is, I'd do it again. So a guy looks like Han Solo, you do whatever the fuck it takes. And I think Jamie turned me in because she also liked Mike Lieber, and she wanted to make sure she was the only one who got to make out with him. But the thing is, neither Jamie or I got to be Princess Leia. He wasn't interested in her either. But Jamie did end up working for me, so I ended up being her Darth Vader. Thank you.